Remember, the YouTube ads feed the ducks.
Good morning, everybody. I've got a bit of a duck emergency, I think, here. I was in the shower. I got out and it was about 8:15, and I looked out the window and it looks like I got a duck hurt in the tub. There's something definitely wrong here. I looked out my window and I could see, we got a dead duck. Oh, boys. Why are you dead? Oh, it's Mrs. Gimp. Oh, no. Okay, she's still alive. What happened to you, Mrs. Gimp? All right, we got to take her in and get her into some warm water. Oh, no. This is bad. Oh, Mrs. Gimp. Oh, girl, we'll get you in warm water and we'll get your body temperature back up here. This is strange. Poor little girl. She's still alive. All right. Okay, you just lay right here, Mrs. Gimp. Oh, okay. All right, we got water here. This is emergency. She's trying to move. All right, I got a bit of a mess here. All right. Oh, okay. There's water. Get connected here. Get some warm water. She's definitely probably a little bit of hypothermia or something happening here. Now, I gotta be careful. I don't want it too hot. Poor girl. Unbelievable. I wonder what happened, why she's... Alright, that's warm. Alright, Mrs. Gimp, hang on. We'll get you in here. We'll get your body back warmed up here. Oh, poor little girl. Here. Come on. Oh, this is bad. We can't lose Mrs. Gimp. Okay, I gotta come up with something to hold her head out of the water. What can I use? What can I use? What can I use? She's been in there a while. That is bizarre because she's never had a problem. You know? This warm water will bring her back. We'll get her back. Come on, Mrs. Gimp. What happened to you? Like... Come on, Mrs. Gimp. All right, girl. This is bad news. Come on, girl. A little more warm water in here. We'll get her back. Oh, yes, we'll get you back. Won't we? Oh, little girl. Come on. We gotta... She's seriously got some serious cold. And the fact that, you know, like Peking ducks don't have the same oil as a rowan does. No, she just stood up on her own here. They don't have the same oil in their feathers like a rowan does, so you know they get wet faster. We'll warm you back up, girls. Her head's frozen. I don't know how this footage is turning out. Like I said, I just looked out the window. I had my shower. It's about 7:45 in the morning. I had my shower and I looked out, and I was just getting dressed to go out and do my chores, and I see this duck in the tub, and I was like, okay, this is not good. I got the water warmer here, and I gotta come up with something to hold her head out of the water, just in case, because she could actually fall in the water and drown. I got a hunch it's going to take a while to get her warmed up. I wonder how cold she is inside. Well, oh, this is bad. Oh, Mrs. Gimp. What happened to you last night? Or this morning? Or like what time did you go? I know the ducks now are getting up earlier. It was like about 5 a.m. Now when I hear them outside coming out of the barn, now that the days are getting longer, I've noticed in the mornings, they wake me up, or not wake me up, but I'm actually up laying in bed there and I hear the quack, quack, quack outside, so. Oh, Mrs. Gimp. Alright, we gotta get you set up here, because I got a hunch you're gonna have to stay in this water for a while to get your body temperature back up. Oh, don't die on me, duck. We gotta save you. You're a star of the show. Alright. Oh, Mrs. Gimp. I gotta come up with something here to keep her head out of the water, but keep her in the water. Poor little duck. Like, what were you doing? How'd that happen? Like, she's never had a problem with the tub before. And it's not even icy or anything in the tub. Like, I don't understand this. It doesn't make any sense. She's having a hard time breathing. I can hear she got deep breaths. Oh, girl. We gotta get you warmed up. And the thing is, like the tub is about 12, 14 degrees Celsius. So, it's not like she's got, like hypothermia down and, dealing with, freezing water here. We're talking, she's somehow has gotten trapped in the tub. And the water temperature, is somewhere between the 12 and 14 degrees Celsius mark. And the water has, she's lost all her water repellency on her feathers because she was in there so long, and she's brought her core temperature down, obviously down too low, the way she's very lethargic right now. So we've got to get her core temperature back up, and the only way this is to have her in warm water like this, and hopefully we caught this in time. Time is only going to tell here. I got to come up here. Okay, I'm going to interrupt the camera here, and I'm going to try to rig up something here to keep her head out of the water. I've got to come up with something better. Something a little bit smaller, actually. Actually, I know. I've got something smaller here. Hang on. Okay, I've got this container. It's a little... Hopefully, oh, it's got a crack in the bottom of it. Okay, I've got something else here. It's out of an old fridge I had. Yeah, this is a little smaller for her. Come on, girl. All right. Here, just lay down in the water here. Lay down. Okay, I gotta come up with something better. Okay, I'm gonna use this anyways. It's got a crack in the bottom, and I'll just put it inside that, and we'll. It's just I need something a little bit smaller for her to sit in so she can rest her head. Okay, I've got a thermometer here. I didn't realize I had one. We'll just see what the temperature of the water is here. Keep an eye on that for her. Oh, Mrs. Gimp. Hey. Hey. Oh, you're really stiff. You're really stiff, aren't you? Here. Let's put you in here. My God, girl. Poor thing. Oh, girl. You can see all her new feathers coming in here. But she refuses to lay down in the water. Come on, get in the water. Get submerged here. Oh, she's trying to get her wings out. What's the temperature of the water here? I've got the water at 110 degrees, so it's a nice warm bath for her. That's got to bring her temperature, body temperature up. I think that's what it is the molt. She has lost so much of her feathers. She doesn't have a lot of feathers on her right now. Poor little girl. Oh man, this sucks. I did not expect this morning. You know, I got up and, I usually do the chores, between 7:30 and 8. So at 8, quarter to 8, I'm looking out and I look out and I see a duck in the tub and I'm like, okay, that's strange. Duck just laying in the tub, and got dressed really fast and I didn't even grab the regular camera. I was just throw the pivot heads on here so I could, if there was any footage, I could get it for you guys. But I needed both hands free just in case it was an emergency, and I made that right call because this is definitely an emergency. Poor Mrs. Gimp. The thing is, I can't even bring the other camera in right now because I left the camera. I put the camera outside this morning at 7 o'clock in the case to freeze it because we got a snowstorm, and I didn't want the snowflakes to cause the touchscreen to go screwy. So I thought I'd pre-freeze the camera. So I put it out like 6:45 in its case outside. So the camera's frozen right now. I can't even bring it in because if I bring it in because it's warm in here, it'll fog up. So we're videotaping this whole thing with the pivot heads. And Mrs. Gimp is the star of the show here. Oh, poor little girl. Come on. This is probably going to take a couple hours to get her body temperature up. I gotta get something to sit on. Quite a few years ago, a long time ago actually, probably about 10 years ago, when I just had two dogs, Buddy and Rocco. They had fallen through the ice in the spring. Like it was mid-April, and they were out on the lake, and it was slush ice, and they had fallen through about 35 feet out. And because of the ice was thick at the shore, they couldn't get back in. And they spent about 45 minutes in the water. And if it wasn't for Rocco howling, I would have not known. And I ended up doing the 700-foot mad dash in my house coat to the lake, and like a fool, I went out on the ice and got my dogs back. Luckily, I didn't go in, but that day it took the two dogs, which Buddy was a lab, and Rocco, Malamute lab. They have really thick undercoats, and that was the only thing that saved them because they were ice cold for over 2 days. We gave them hot showers, rinsed them all off with hot water, and with the hot water outside, and we cleaned them all up with warm water, brought them inside, wrapped them in towels, and it took over 48 hours for their tongues to get warm again. So, You know, when an animal gets, hypothermia like this, when their core temperature drops from being submerged in water, it can take a long time for them to be brought back. For the temperature to be brought back up. So this Mrs. Gimp, I don't know how long this is going to take. But it's just bizarre because she's been in the tub countless times. Countless times. It doesn't make any sense for her to be trapped in the tub like that. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But looking at her wings, she doesn't have any feathers. So the only thing I can think of is that because she has no feathers, and the fact that she is Mrs. Gimp, that she didn't have any wing power to help her get out of the tub. That's the only thing that makes sense. That she was with one leg bad, trying to get out of the tub without any wing feathers to help flap to lift her. I think that's what probably happened here. She's just lost too many feathers during this molt. Where the other ducks, they have two good legs, they can get out of the tub no problem. And it's the only thing that makes sense. Because she doesn't have any pecking on her. There is no blood. She doesn't have any wounds on her, so it doesn't look like she was in a fight. Plus, the females don't fight between each other. So now it could also be, which we've already seen the Rowans doing some some lesbian action. Maybe a female, could be a Rowan or another Peking mounted her. Tired her out trying to have mate with her. That's a possibility. But my gut's telling me it's because she absolutely has no wing feathers right now, and she couldn't get out of the tub with one gimp leg and no wing feathers. And her wings are so crucial to her because she is handicapped. It's the only thing that makes sense. We've got, it's 108 degrees, so she's already sucked 3 degrees. It was 111, so she's already taken 3 degrees of the water temperature out of here. So her body is absorbing the heat. And I'm winging it here because I don't know the core body temperature of a duck, what it's supposed to be, and right now I'm not going to go hop on the internet to find this out. So I just hope that she's not exhausted and dies of exhaustion. Oh, poor Mrs. Gimp. You've had such a hard little life. I have noticed her breathing getting stronger. When I first brought her in here, she was barely breathing. And now I can see her body, expanding with her breaths. That's a very good sign. And her breathing's getting louder. Come on, girl. Yeah, she's got no wing feathers. This molt, that's the problem. She got trapped in the tub with no wing feathers. Oh, you silly little duck. Oh, stay there. Just stay in here. Come on, girl. Oh, your little wings. You're such a little thing. Her head's getting stronger. just gotta get your body temperature up here, girl. Okay? Oh yeah, she's starting to fight. Come on, relax, girl. Hang on, I got you. I'm not gonna let nothing happen to you. I'm gonna try not to let nothing happen to you. Gotta get you submerged in this warm water. It's 106, so her body is sucking the heat out of this water. I think Mrs. Gimp is going to end up staying in the hospital until she gets her relax, until she gets her strength back again here. No. See, now she's fighting. All right, Duck, you're coming back to life here. Oh, you. Just gonna grab some more warm water in here. Okay, I've got it the temperature up to 114. Let's give her a burst of heat here. Oh, I didn't count on this morning. I woke up with thinking, oh, it wasn't going to be too eventful day. Poor little girl. So that's the bottom line. I know for sure it is that she, because of the fact she has absolutely no wing feathers because of the molt right now, she can't get out of the tub because of her handicap, you know. But she's definitely getting her strength back here. She's definitely, yeah, she's coming back to life. Oh, Mrs. Gimp. What a mess, though, her feathers are with this molt. There's no feathers on her. Now, Mrs. Icovey over there, she's just going crazy building a nest. They're pulling straw in. You're going to have a roommate here pretty soon. Come on, Miss Gimp, get back. Oh yeah, she's getting stronger. She's really resisting now to lay in the water. Come on, you gotta get a little warmer here. Come on. You gotta get your body temperature up here, girl. Oh yeah, she's coming back to life here. She's got I'm amazed that she didn't drown. That blows me away, considering how lethargic her body was when I brought her in here. I do not know how she held her head out of the water when she was in the tub, basically in a state of shock with the hypothermia. I don't understand it. She should have, the way her head had no strength, the way it was, her body was when I first brought her in, she should have drowned. It just doesn't make any sense how she did it. It's just not her time. Is it, Mrs. Gimp? Come on, girl. I gotta get you in the water here a little deeper. Get your back in there so you can. Oh, she's really fighting me. Yeah, she's standing on her own here, and it looks like we're bringing Mrs. Gimp back to life. Well, she's shivering, so that's a good sign, because you can't shiver and be dying. It doesn't work that way. She had actually, anybody that's familiar with hypothermia, is once hypothermia sets in, you don't shiver anymore. Shivering is actually your body's mechanism to warm yourself up. So it's sort of strange, but when you get cold, you shiver actually to warm your body up. So the fact that she's shivering right now, it means her body is coming back to temperature. Because when we first brought her in, there was no shivering. It was just a limp, basically, in shock body. That's what it was. She was in shock. There was no more. Now I can actually see she is shaking. So she's got a shiver, which means that her body temperature is coming up, and she's starting to get body functions back. And the thing is we've got some really nice weather coming. This week the temperature is seriously climbing. They're forecasting 7 degrees and rain here by the end of the week, and today is actually the start of the warm weather starting to come in. So it's a shame, because I'm going to have to keep her in the hospital here with Miss Scovey. But I don't want to disturb Miss Scovey, so I think I'm going to have to set her up in her own cage beside the hospital here, because I just don't want to disturb Miss Scovey and her nest. But Mrs. Gimp has definitely got a shake going on here. Another thing too about not disturbing Miss Scovey is that she is doing an unbelievable job of keeping her hospital area clean. She is now not basically, what she's doing now is that she's actually pushing her bum against the outside edges and defecating away from the center of the hospital now. So she's doing everything she can to keep the hospital clean. Now, if I threw Mrs. Gimp in there, she would just basically defecate everywhere and create a mess that Mrs. Gimp or Mrs. Scovey doesn't want to deal with now, because she's in the the nesting mode. And when ducks get into this mode, they do everything they can to keep their nesting area clean. And Mrs. Gimp would just screw that up. So Mrs. Gimp's going to have to be in her own cage here. Right, I'm going to get a different water set up here for her. Okay, I've got a bucket now, and I want to get a little more depth here, so that Miss Scovey has to be in the water all the way. Now this, I'm going to hang on to her. Ah, girl. And I just want to get her so that she's completely submerged. I've got her. Oh yeah, she's getting serious strength back here. I just want to get her so that she's in the water all the way. Oh, you silly little duck. That was a close call, wasn't it? Hey. This is much better. I can get you deeper in the water, and now that she's got more strength, she's actually can hold her head out of the water. And this way she can't flap her wings. Come on, girl. I got you. This way I can submerge her completely and get her body temperature up a little faster, because she kept wanting to get out of the water. And we got to get her past the shivering here. We got to get her so that she's no longer shivering. And the only way to do that is is to get her body completely submerged here, so we can get the temperature up. She's a poor little girl. Oh, you. Oh, That was a close call. You silly little duck. She's blowing bubbles. A bit of a drink. There. She's standing up in the water here. This way she can't, but she keeps wanting to stand up because, you know, she doesn't know what's good for her. And we got, like I said, I got to get her past the shivering stage so that she's actually warm again. And the only way to do that is to actually get her submerged in warm water here. Now I've got the water at 110. You know, I don't want to do it too hot. Hang on, Mrs. Gimp. Oh yeah. We'll get your body warmed up. Oh, that was a close call. That was a close call for a little duck. You're going to be really clean after that, considering how dirty you were, Mrs. Gimp. Yeah, she's got no feathers. Absolutely none. It's all new stuff growing in here. I'm looking at her feathers, and she is basically... You're almost featherless. Oh. Poor little girl. Yeah, her head's still cold, though. Your head is still cold. Let me just feel your head. Yeah, her head is still cold. But definitely more strength. You can feel the strength in her. Alright, I'm going to get the other tub of water changed here so we can get some more warm water. And yeah, she's gaining a lot more strength here. Come on, Mrs. Gimp. There. I'm going to put a little more warm water in here. We'll let her a little more temperature gain. I'll get a towel and we'll give her a little bit of a drying. I can tell you one thing though, she stinks. The smell of wet duck in warm water. It's honestly what it smells like. It smells like when you scald them just before you throw them in the plucker. That's what it smells like. It's not a nice smell. Poor little ducky. Okay, now she's drinking. Oh, she's drinking and... Oh, she just sneezed. Well, it looks like Mrs. Gimp is coming back to life here for us. That was a close call. She's not shivering near as much now. So her body, her core temperature must be coming up. She's just got a very slight shiver. But I think that, I know that was the problem here. She's got no feathers, absolutely none. Like, I'll give you another shot here. Like, let's look at, like, not a feather on her wings. You know, there's no way this girl could get any airlift at all to help her get out of the bathtub. So she's lost a lot of feathers in the last couple days that has caused her to have no lift ability to get out of the tub. So that's she got trapped in the tub because she had no feathers because of this molt. So Mrs. Gimp, I'm going to have to keep a close eye on you, and we're going to have to play by ear on when you're going to go back outside. But for right now, you're going to go into a dog cage, and We're going to make a little hospital bed up for you. And she's drinking. Oh, you little thing. I don't believe this. Well, everybody, it looks like I saved her. You know, she's drinking. What a difference now. She's coming back to life here. And like I said, I don't see any shivering. I really hope this footage turned out because, you know, we did this whole rescue with the pivot heads, and I don't know, I didn't configure them this morning and set them up for how I wanted them to focus or anything, so I hope I had it all set right, or this whole rescue is for naught on video. You're going to be watching a blurry Mrs. Gimp rescue. Even if it's blurry, I'm going to post this video, so. And hopefully it turned out. Alright, I'm going to go get her a towel so we can dry her off, and I'm going to put her, set up the dog cage here with some straw in it, and get her set up in a little house here, or a little bed, hospital bed. Because like I said, I don't want to put her with Miss Ice Scovey here, because I'll just show you Miss Ice Scovey is, look at this, she's just spraying all her feces into this corner now. So there's nothing over here. It's all being blown here. So she's keeping her hospital as clean, or her nursery as clean as possible. How many eggs have we got in there today? Still only see 4 eggs. Well, there might be 5. One buried in the straw there. I can't see for sure. But I can get a towel so I can dry Miss Ice Scovey, or Mrs. Gimp off here, and I'm going to set up her hospital bed, and we'll get her dried off here. And oh, close call for the little duck. Alright, I just went into the house to get some towels here so I can dry her off. The old dog towels here, and I've got straw in the dog cage for her, but I just left her and she hasn't even moved. She's just laying here, standing here in the warm water, enjoying it. But you can see, like, she has no feathers. She's drinking. Oh, you silly little duck. Well, your face is clean. I think it was yesterday's video there, or the day before, her face was just filthy. So she's a clean duck now. Almost lost her life doing it, though. Silly thing. Oh, man, that would have sucked losing you. You've got a lot of fans out there. Mrs. Gimp. Tell you, when I saw that this morning, I went out there, and first when I looked out my bedroom window and I saw the duck in the tub, and I was like, okay, get dressed really fast. Didn't even dry off, and just threw the clothes on, came downstairs, whipped out, and I just grabbed the the pivot head glasses and threw them on. As I said, screw the camera, we got an emergency here, but I wanted to have the glasses, and just in case, just to show you guys what's going on here. And it's events like this that make the duck adventure. This is reality. This is unscripted, and I don't have a film crew following me around, so I've got to make sure that I put the effort in and film as much as possible. But the welfare of my duck is first, so that's why I didn't grab the big camera, and because I knew that if there was a duck in trouble, I'm going to need both hands, and that means I would have a camera to deal with, and the last thing I want to do, or the last thing I want to have to do is to deal with a camera. Well, I got to save a duck. And I got to save my duck. Especially Mrs. Gimp. She's a star. Look at her. Oh, you crazy little duck. What were you doing last night? Did you get how long were you in there? Oh, like I said, it's about 5 a.m. now. The ducks are waking up, and I hear them outside, so they're coming out at around 5 a.m. So she could have been in the water since then. And the fact that she has no feathers, that's why, if you look at her, she's got no feathers. It actually looks like she's been thrown in a plucker. That's what she looks like, honestly. It looks like a bad pluck job. Oh, she's definitely coming back here. Aren't you, little girl? Hmm? Oh, I know you. You little thing. Yeah, we'll get you dried off and we'll get you in the fluffy here and you can warm up and grow some feathers the next week here. She's definitely doing a lot better now. I do not know how you didn't drown. I do not know. That is bizarre. You should have drowned. The way she had no muscle control when I brought her in. You know, when I picked her out of the tub there, that was it. She was a limp, frozen duck. She just had enough strength to hold her head up and that was it. And basically, you know, the buoyancy of her body and, you know, she was, you know, leveraging her buoyancy to hold her head up and because that was the only thing keeping her going. Alright, my pivot heads, the rescue lasted so long that the batteries went dead and I loaded and did a whole like 7.8 gigs of video, so the glass is cut out and we're now, I brought the big camera in and we've wiped the lens off so it doesn't fog up, but Mrs. Gimp, I've got her wrapped in the towels here and I'm sucking the moisture out of her feathers before I put her in the dog cage. So like I said, I can't put her in the hospital / nursery because we're trying to keep it clean for Mrs. Ice Scovey. But I think once Mrs. Gimp dries off here, she'll be alright. She's definitely got a lot more strength now. Her feathers are flying off of her though. Serious mold action happening here. Poor little duck. That was a close call. Holy boys. Hey, this little girl. Hey. So she's got next to no feathers. Like it looks like she's been thrown in a chicken plucker. And for the amount of feathers missing on her. So we'll put her, I'll take her over here and we'll put her in the dog cage. Alright, Mrs. Gimp, this is where you're going to go and you're going to dry yourself off. Hang on. Oh, she's fighting lots now. I put a heater, small little 1500 watt heater here, just blowing some warm air at this end of the cage for her, just so she doesn't get a chill until we get this dampness out of her feathers. So until she is dry and fluffy, I'm going to keep the heat on here for her, and if it gets too hot at this end, she can move to that end of the cage. But I'm going to go out and do the chores here and A recon and get on with the duck adventure. So what a start of the day here, but she's drying herself up here and this warm air blowing on her, she should dry off really fast actually. Who knows, we'll get back from the duck chores and it should be all fluffy here, but I've still got to clean out this end of the cage here. Take a look at that. She's sprayed the wall. But she's doing all the defecating is happening exactly in this corner. She's just nailing it. Nothing. And the rest of the the rest of the nursery is clean as could be. And it looks like there's still only 4 eggs. That's all I can see in there. Yeah, see if I can zoom actually in here. That's all I can see is those 3 eggs and that one buried. So now she's got a 5th one buried somewhere. So she's definitely got the nesting box happening here. She's constantly bringing more straw into it. So she really likes the hay. I bring the hay in. She lines the, I don't know if it's, but she's eating it and lining the nest. But I put hay in here and she just drags it all inside. So anyways, I'm gonna go and do the duck chores. Well, I've just made a modification here. Yes, ducks, I'm here. I just made a modification to the tub so that Mrs. Gimp, this can't happen to her again. Because once she gets her strength back here, and after probably tomorrow we'll see what she's like. But I decreased the angle of the ramp here. I got in there, I stood on it, I bent it up, so now that it's a little more less of a grade than it was before, and that way she can get out now. I had a memory, which if you go back on the duck adventure back to last summer when I got the duckies, and actually it was probably around when the ducks were like around the 3-week-old period when they got into the pen here. When I just built the bathtub for them, I had logs in there that I had bolted in the corner as a ramp for the ducks to get out. And I remember Mrs. Gimp getting stuck in there, and I don't think I videotaped it, but she got stuck, and then I had to add some other logs to fill the hole in so she couldn't get stuck anymore. So this isn't the first time Mrs. Gimp has had a problem with the tub, but that's when she was really young and she had no wing feathers, because since she's had wing feathers, she's had no problem getting in and out of the tub. She goes in and out. I've washed her hundreds of times go in and out. So when she was very, very young, before wing feathers, she had a problem, and now this molt that she's going through right now, she's had the same problem. Like her wings basically look like she's about a 3-week-old duck. Absolutely no weather, no feathers. The weather, yeah, the weather's changing. It's getting warmer. Hopefully, it's supposed to. But I decrease the angle now so that the ducks, it's more of a walkout for them instead of a climb out the end. So it's right now. There's a big enough gap at the bottom now between the bottom of the ramp and the tub that I can actually get the toilet brush in and clean underneath. So it's about 6 inches. I've raised it up at the lowest end. So the angle now, Mrs. Gimp can walk out of it. She won't need her wings. She can actually, she'll be able to walk out. It was just too steep for her. The other ducks had no problem because they've got 2 perfectly good feet. They had no problems. I've watched them many times climbing up. But Mrs. Gimp was, I got thinking about it, and I've never seen her walk up the ramp. She's always used her wings to jump out of the water. And the fact that she's got no wing feathers, she couldn't jump out of the water either late last night or this morning. I got a hunch it was this morning because, like I said, it's been about 5 o'clock in the morning now. I'm hearing the ducks outside because I wake up between 4 and 5, and that's when I'm starting to hear the noises outside. So spring's getting here, ducks getting up earlier. So Mrs. Gimp was in the water long enough that she got some serious frostbite, or not frostbite, but hypothermia that she went into shock and lost control of her muscles and was just laying there. I'm surprised. I do not believe that she didn't drown. It blows me away. Absolutely blows me away. So, but I just was in there I got the heater running, and she's standing in front. She's getting fluffy, and she's not shivering. So, who knows? Maybe tomorrow she'll be back to normal, and we'll get her back out here with the flock again. And now that I've got the tub fixed, that can't happen to her again. But we'll see what she's like. We'll play it by ear because I'm not throwing the duck. I've done enough of this throwing ducks out prematurely back out in the flock and just create a problem for to be dealt with later. So the secret code today is right here. Is rescue. To enter the contest for your chance to win a pair of high-definition video glasses from 50 Ducks in a Hot Tub, and they're cool glasses, the pivot heads, which, I filmed the whole rescue today, Mrs. Gimp, with them. I didn't use my camera because I needed both hands free, so I think it turned out pretty good, the footage. But the link is below the video, I should say. I'm tired. It was a rough day. Anyway, if it disappears when you watch the end of the video, click on the word about below the video, and then the link will reappear. Click on it. Enter your code to enter the contest, and don't forget to leave a comment on the video and thumbs it up because Mrs. Gimp needs a boost today. She's had a rough day. So, and good luck everybody on the contest. To win a pair of pivot head high definition video glasses from 50 Ducks in a Hot Tub. Well, we're in the hospital here. We're checking on the patients today. Miss Gimp is doing fantastic. She's, considering how close she was to death this morning. She's making a little nest here. It's right at this end. Watch, we'll come out tomorrow and we'll have an egg. So I threw some hay in there for her to have a little snack, and she's looking way better. But she's got no feathers. I'm looking at her and she looks like a raped ape, man. Absolutely nothing left to her. She's the blood stopped. She stopped bleeding, on her feathers there. That the new feathers she's getting, but she is definitely a duck that is seriously lacking in the feather department. I think she just molted way too much at once. So, but we're gonna keep her in here until the weather warms up, which this week it's gonna get warm. So she'll be back out with the flock here. No, I don't think tomorrow, but probably the next day. now that I've got the water situation fixed, that this can't happen to her again. Because, you know, really, Mrs. Gimp is one tough bird. You know, she's a real trooper. You know, all the things that, you know, that she had working against her. And the girl, you know, survives the coldest days, the brutalest days. You know, she just keeps going and going and going. You know, it would be, to take her away from the flock would just be wrong on so many levels, because she, you know, has proven to us beyond a doubt that, you know, she's, you know, capable of keeping up with everybody, and she deserves her spot in the flock. Just we got to take care of her and, you know, get through this little patch and, you know, get her core temperature back up, which, you know, I know with a human, you know, I should say I know with a dog, as I said earlier in the video, my experience with my dogs in cold water, you know, from a decade ago, it took them 2 days before their core temperature came back to normal. So I'm going to give her a couple days to get her core temperature back to normal. Now, Miss Icovy here, she's just going crazy. I gave her a bunch of hay. She's been pulling the hay in, she's eating it, she's tunneling away at it, and she's pulling it into the nest. And I don't know how much more she can jam in there, but she's, we'll see. You know, she's got 5 eggs in there. Oh, can we get a view here? Yeah, she's moving them closer together. You can't, I don't know if you can see it in the video here, but she's, yeah, it's hard to see. I'm not going to go in there, I'm going to leave her alone, because like I said, she gets stressed out if I screw around too much, and I don't want to stress her out. So, that's the duck update for today. What a freaking adventure it was. I did not count on this when I got up. I did not expect to be running outside at 8:15 in the morning and thinking I got a dead duck in the tub. So, and it's been just a curveball. You know, it took a lot of time to bring Miss Gimp back to life here. I was back here. Well, actually, Cindy was working. She came back and she wondered what I was up to. And it's been a crazy day.